Hey guys, Jay Siemens here. Welcome to my new series, The Complete Guide to Ice Fishing. It has been a banner year for fishing license sales, and I know a lot of people are going to be getting into ice fishing this winter. I got a 10-part series coming your way, brought to you by Travel Manitoba, teaching you everything you need to know to get on the ice. Chapter 3, and this is, I think, a very important one, is ice shacks. And if you are getting into ice fishing or bringing someone else that is new to ice fishing, the shack can be the difference between them lasting half an hour out on the ice or 8 hours out on the ice. There's pretty much 3 main options for ice shacks. Okay, style number 1, this is by far the most popular. This is the hub style or pop-up style, whatever you want to call it. This is one of the biggest of this style. You're looking at 94 fishable square feet. This specific one is, I think, around $530. The smaller models are, you're looking at the $200, $250 range, which is a great entry price to get into this. When you are looking at materials though, there are thermal and non-thermal. If you are fishing in cold climates in Canada, I would highly recommend getting a thermal version. You will save so much propane, and on those really cold days, you just have the ability to get that much warmer if you need to. We're gonna go over some pros and cons, but first we're gonna set up the shack. All right guys, we're inside of the shack. It's set up. These things are pretty easy to set up. It can be a little crazy when you're by yourself and it's windy. That's one thing to keep in mind. It's nice to have multiple people for this style of shack. Some of the pros and cons. We'll start with some cons. If it's windy, you need to peg the shack down. A flip over shack, you can get away without pegging it down. This one, you're gonna wanna put those metal screws and straps into the ice. Otherwise, this thing will turn into a kite and it'll be at the other end of the lake, which is no good. Another con, on really cold days, you've got a lot more air to heat up in here. So this is a thermal material. It does heat up super fast, but if it's minus 40 Celsius, you need to have that heater cranked at high. Now let's talk about some of the pros. Look at all this fishability. It is massive. You have 94 square feet. It's great. You could fit the whole family in here, 4 or 5 people in the shack, maybe 6 depending on how you're fishing. For me, when I film, it's amazing. I can put my camera, my tripod at one end. It's great. But with that, you don't want to be moving too much. You've got a lot of gear. You often have to bring extra chairs, bring a toboggan to bring it out. So there's more involved. A flip over shack is kind of just all in one and a little better for run and gun. All right, this is style number 2. This is the flip over shack. And the nice thing about the flip over shack, it's kind of your all-in-one. It's got your seats, it's got your toboggan, and it's got your shelter. That is the beauty of it. This specific one, you're looking at 28 square feet of fishable space, which is quite a bit smaller than the pop-up. This model, I think, is about $850. You could get them probably as cheap as, you know, that $400 mark. Once again, that thermal material is gonna save you a lot of propane and keep you much warmer out there. There are some accessories that I would definitely recommend getting if you're getting a flip over, and I will show you one of the most important ones first. This is called Hyfax. These are like runners that you attach on the bottom. This is my least favorite thing in ice fishing, is putting these things on. It's the first thing you wanna do when you get your shack. But what this does is it protects the bottom of your toboggan when you're driving across gravel, even across ice. It just stops from wearing on the tub, because eventually you could wear a hole through the tub and, you know, then it wouldn't last you too long. So make sure to get those runners. All right, another accessory I would highly recommend getting is a cover. If you're gonna tow this thing behind a snowmobile, which you probably are if you're getting it, it will fill up with snow otherwise. So a travel cover is very key. All right, so one of the biggest cons with this style of flip over shack is obviously you have everything together, but this shack does not come assembled. Your pop-up shack, you get it in the bag and it's all good to go. You just pop it up. This one, you have to do all this install before. You've got the Hyfax, you've got the trailer, the tow kit, which is another additional thing you're gonna wanna purchase. You've got seats, everything needs to get put together. Probably takes 4 to 6 hours. Really not that bad, but it is something to take into account. All right, so we're gonna flip this thing up. I'll kind of show you how quick it sets up. It's very easy for one person to do it. And the other thing is you don't have to worry about putting pegs down, which is another step that just gets you fishing more spots. In an extreme wind, I would way rather be in this than in a pop-up. All right, before we get any further, we are gonna set the shack up. I'll show you how easy it is. And as I mentioned, this is much easier to set up by yourself. All right guys, this is a flip over shack. As you may have seen, I added these poles for a little more rigidity. Yes, you don't need to set them up, but when it's really windy or you need that little extra space, it is nice. It's only a couple seconds to pop them in. But yeah, pros and cons of a flip over shack. I mean, I think before you before you pick what you want, you kind of need to decide the type of fishing you're doing. What this is really good for is run and gun fishing. You know, behind a snowmobile, it's super fast and efficient. You just need to pull your heater and your electronics back in. You can be moving to the next spot. Everything's contained, everything's right here. This is a little bit more expensive, not as good for fishing in groups. But yeah, you kind of just got to cater to the type of fishing you do. And for guys that do a lot of panfish, a lot of moving around, I think this is the right shack for you. All right, so we've talked about flip overs, we've talked about pop-ups, and kind of the third option is your permanent ice house. And they get pretty luxurious. Some of the bigger ones, you're looking at 125 to 150 square feet. I fish in one called an ice castle, which I think is probably like $20,000 to $25,000 American. It is luxurious. It's got a washroom, it's got, you know, sleeping quarters, and it's got holes in the ground so you can fish. You've got a flat screen TV so you can hook up your TV. It is bougie. It's over the top. And if you're looking to just set it up on your home lake and, you know, fish in the evenings, spend a couple nights, it's probably an option for you. It is quite the investment. If you want to try one out, there's definitely a lot of rental options out there. It's a great way to take, you know, the family out for the day. And for people that are new to ice fishing, it is a great way to bring them into the sport. Well, while it is great to have any of those three styles of shacks, a shack should not stop you from going fishing. If you are dressed properly, you can have a comfortable day on the ice, and that is what our next chapter is going to be all about.